Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. It says chaos is coming as far as ... here. I don't know if that really means anything, or if it is like so many of these other elements that were announced like years and years ago. The reason we're here at this point and not just paused on the game like we normally would be is it does seem like even on my new computer there is some kind of RAM leak that happens with this game, and with it being open, it managed to crash my open broadcast software that I used to record these videos twice in a row while I was live streaming, which is very weird. But I have to really put it down to blaming the Lego game, because I have not seen that ever happen anywhere else, nor have I just updated to a new version of OBS that might explain a new bug or something like that. Of course, that's still very weird because I was able to record 2 episodes without the recording crashing, so yeah, who knows. We have Bizarro next. So Bizarro is the kind of opposite world story.
Me and Bizarro. Bizarro hero. Help Superman. Superman say as reward, Bizarro get own planet all to himself, very far away from other people. He say not helping. Bizarro not understand, but hate new planet and make city to live in called Rocktropolis. Now, very, very good man want wreck Rocktropolis, take energy from planet, make Bizarro happy to see city in peril. So me steal LexCorp replicator gun, make own League of Friends. Batzarro, Bizarra, Cizarro, and Green Zarro. Apart we fight Darkseid, save planet. Bizarro League backwards!
So, okay. This
Darkseid hurts citizens. Bizarro League must not help them. Slowly.
So he's saying half the things backwards. In some instances in which Bizarro is a character in the DC universe, there is an entire like Bizarro universe with your Bizarro form of these characters. Now, I don't know if that means there are actually skins that you can play as these Bizarro characters. I would assume there would be later on. But in other stories, Bizarro is just kind of created on Earth Prime, in the Prime universe of the DC universe, and maybe, I guess they're finding a bit of a happy medium here and trying to establish a Rocktropolis as being the opposite of a metropolis, in the sense that Metropolis is a city built all around man-made creations, and the Rocktropolis would obviously be built around more natural creations. So I don't know what really is supposed to be happening here. Like, Bizarro has explosive batarangs that can destroy silver Lego objects. Hold X to target them. Okay. Thanks, Batmite. So there's a statue of Bizarro, and Darkseid is trying to, I guess, steal these glowing minifigs.
Must get people back up to ground.
I guess those are supposed to be just generic people in Bizarro's universe, because that wouldn't really fly in any other story.
That better? We make such bad team. Them not heroes. Bizarro League fight to make Superman ashamed of us.
So yeah, I think the kind of opposite day type mentality that you would run into with Bizarro would make it hard, certainly, to have a long-running series focused around Bizarro. He is a one-note gag, basically, and you can play that gag sometimes, but you'd almost expect him to just show up from off-screen, make a sly, funny joke, and then walk off screen again, and not see him for another hour. Whereas you also have the idea of the Injustice universe, where all of the Justice League are evil, truly evil and authoritarian, more than they normally are, which you certainly can make that argument that sometimes they are fairly authoritarian, considering how they are not elected to represent anybody usually, or protect anyone, and they're not controlled by any real ordinance or law. But yeah, the Injustice Among Us, or the Injustice League as a concept, makes it much more of a hardcore idea around this. This is a nice little Lego design. A lot of these Lego games, I think now, many years after playing them and having done a lot more real-world Lego, they kind of don't quite look right. Like, you have polygons that give off the vague feeling of Lego pieces, but then a lot of times in Lego games you have things that I just don't think would really cut the mustard as far as the way a Lego set would actually be built.
You, Bizarro. You world's worst detective.
Now we need Bizarro Green Lantern. If anything, the Injustice League being a more modern version of the idea of what if Batman was evil, what if Wonder Woman was evil, what if the entire Justice League was evil. It highlights where there needs to kind of be this rebooting of a lot of the DC characters to try and modernize them so that they have any relevancy at all. But I kind of feel like it's a double-edged challenge, and you really should probably have some very kid-friendly, cartoony versions of a lot of the characters too. In a funny way, I want to say Muppet Babies in a way, but you know, the Muppets and the Muppet Babies also kind of hurt their own brand a little bit because of the fact that while Muppet Babies was very successful, it didn't go anywhere kind of past that point. It didn't get any more shows, and then the Muppets later, the Muppet Show and the later Muppet movies tried to be a little bit more that tried to be a little bit more mature and have Kermit and Miss Piggy have a real relationship, in the latest of the Muppet movies kind of failed terribly. So there is also an argument that perhaps DC should just establish its lane and know its lane, but it would have to really decide whether its lane was
Rocktropolis people am free. Save more Rocktropolis people.
I guess the real question would be, is their lane the 1940s, 1960s era? like DC Batman comics and things like that. Are they Detective Comics or are they DC? Of course, the real problem, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be going. The real problem with DC trying to be like super mature is they just can't do it. It's too dangerous of a thing to do to try and have to try and have something reach the level of a mature rated comic, which foreign country comics, which are going to obviously be major competitors and probably replacements to DC and Marvel both. I don't think I have any ability that would free Mayor West there, or Adam West. So yeah, the foreign comics can do that because there's nothing really expected from them, particularly manga. From Japan can do that because there's not a lot expected from it, and plus it's more culturally acceptable to be super hardcore. But there was I believe it was DC Black, which was supposed to be a series of super mature, super adult focused DC comics, and in like one of the first issues of Batman under the DC Black label, they had Batman fully nude showing his genitalia, and it created such a conflict that they immediately censored it out and backpedaled and never would reprint that. So they're in this level where the DC movies and the DC comics can pretend like they're the mature comic compared to Marvel, which is only slightly less mature and slightly more kid-friendly, but they really can't go to a level of an extreme that you would expect from a modern time. So that they're caught between a rock and a hard place, unless they're willing to weather a significant amount of criticism, and maybe arguably DC can't weather that much criticism because that's pretty much all they get from comic book fans and people who really don't care about comics but would love the clickbait articles. He's got a teddy bear. He's stomping the mud, I guess.
Bizarro League now have Bizarro Mobile. Oh, Bizarro Mobile not last long.
If anything, it really does feel like the only DC things that have succeeded were the things that DC didn't really care about in the first place. Well, I assume that's the case with
Bizarro League need to be very careless.
With like Teen Titans Go, for instance. That must have been something that they didn't really focus much on, and thus it was given more freedoms. I suspect that may very well have been the case with the previous animated series, like Batman the Animated Series. Okay. Am I supposed to have some way of directing this? Yeah, you hold the B button down. There's definitely a problem with jumping into a Lego game to do DLC 5 years later, and just trying to remember what buttons do what. Most Lego games, the buttons do the same thing, so it's not super crazy.
That showed them. Bizarro League save Rocktropolis.
Yeah. I guess that's probably the end of the story.
Yay! Am did it. Just when I'm thought all won, Superman and friends turn up, help us badly. Together, worst of friends. Darkseid not show face again. Bizarro am very ungrateful for help. Rocktropolis unsafe once again.
That's 2 more achievements. Skip this. We can go ahead and skip this because we know we're going to get True Hero always. We didn't get Adam Less in Peril. There was at least one LEGO game that I vaguely recall where they stopped even showing the little minifig builds when you get the mini kits, because I don't think the game even had mini kits. It's a bit of a shame that the LEGO City Undercover game didn't branch off into its own series. But yeah, pretty much every time LEGO has tried to have its own standalone characters and not license the characters like a Marvel or DC game, they haven't worked particularly well in these TT style games. Oh, we do have those Bizarro type characters. Alright, well. But yeah.
Me and Bizarro. Bizarro hero.
Still not a lot of story or anything in the game. Let's see. We need somebody. There's probably a big character, which would be Swamp Thing. Yeah, had TT Games managed to just make LEGO games and not have the licenses, I think that would be very nicely appreciated, because even though TT Games is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, it's more than likely still is a case of them having to pay one department some amount of money to license characters, even from the Warner Brothers and the DC Comics line. And a lot of times they like that Hollywood style of accounting where you're shifting money around to make it seem like you're making a lot more profit than you really are. But generally, I still think you would have a high chance of a better experience if they could have gotten LEGO City Undercover to work. I don't think this is a freeze. I think it's a magnet ability. But nothing seems to be getting prompted with a magnet ability. And who do we else have as the characters? Just one character. Alright, well, let's just swap over to Robin, because I think Robin was the one with the magnet ability. Yeah, this might just be a case of a game that's not even designed particularly well as far as the characters are picked. Either that, or we started with a Robin and then I switched. I'm fairly certain I didn't do anything like that. Alright, well. Wonder Woman really just needs to hit this. It's kind of weird you have those rocks that get sucked up into the air. I guess just to show you what's going to happen to the other characters. And see, it definitely feels strange that you have this glass ability that Batman can do, and then you have a Robin ability. Says we need a Black Canary type character, somebody with a screaming ability. Using a sonic gun. I thought Black Canary just screamed through her own voice. And so we've got a Batmite signal. That's cute. I think they use Batmite fairly well in this whole setup because Batmite's not really a character that's recognizable. Like, I wouldn't have a clue who that is, but by making him just be the assistant character, that worked, I think, fairly nicely. Whereas Kevin Smith and Conan O'Brien in this game are terrible, and honestly, if you were going to make a Game of the Year version of this game, I think you would eliminate those two characters and try and replace them with two new characters, even though the lines of dialogue you might have to record some new lines of dialogue with some new character, new actor. I probably would think they wouldn't have the budget for that and they would just leave it. It was a bad decision at the beginning to have real world people in the game, except for Adam West. Like, Adam West playing Batman in the 66 show has relevancy and a connection. Kevin Smith, I don't know if he's written maybe just a couple of comics at best for DC, like nowhere enough to like justify him showing up. Conan O'Brien hasn't written like any comics at all, so he's got like no justification at all to be here. Are we missing any other collectibles? Nope, they're all in this next area, which I think means we're gonna have to, we may have to run all the way through the story to get to this point, because this is an invisible wall. Yeah. And I would heavily suspect we can't activate this until we activate this. Until we activate this. And this is almost certainly a great example of where they've made it specifically so that it will waste a lot of your time, even in the free play replay of it. And this does feel different than the way I remember the Lego Star Wars games in free play. Of course, that was many, many years ago, but it definitely felt like you could, you were more on the ground, first of all, in Lego Star Wars. There weren't any characters that could fly. You pretty much ruin a lot of gameplay mechanics the second you introduce a character with the ability to fly. And with Batman in particular, you could have always kind of cheated it and just given him a glide ability and never really a fly ability. But then once you start to have like Wonder Woman and Superman, that falls out the window. Have to hold the B button. But yeah, it definitely feels like even without the ability to fly, you could just kind of run and jump a little bit more. That there was just a lot of this and it was moving a little bit faster. Perhaps that's because when I first played Lego Star Wars, the resolution was smaller and the characters in this camera were zoomed in a little bit more. Like that might be the case. But even if I were to lower the resolution, I imagine that still wouldn't change it. I would just assume that the earlier games were much more zoomed in. They definitely were much more zoomed in, and they were much more usually flat 2D. I think it's probably better that these levels are more 3D, so I wouldn't really complain about that. But yeah, it does feel like the Lego games engine has failed to be optimized, to say the least, and improved upon, and that's left the games running more and more sluggish, even when you don't have the micro stuttering issue. Like even here, you would assume that the camera would zoom in and that you would have much more of a journey and just kind of faster motion. It's floaty jumping. Switch over to the other guy. That's a lot of work to get to this section, certainly. Yep. And Power Girl, just a character that never really seems like she gets as much of a good series as they wanted her to have. Like she definitely gets a push of people trying to, or DC trying to make her a more popular character. So I shrunk him with the Brainiac shrink ray, I guess. That's 9. So where's number 10? This is a level where it also shows how easy it is to accidentally end a level without really knowing that that's going to happen. Not that I want some big pop-up or anything that says only do this if you I guess maybe I have to kill this guy first. I'm kind of locked in this mode. We'll try this again. Yeah, it seems buggy. Hold the B button. Aim it towards the gold. Don't hit anything else. That took a lot of effort. Yeah, and this little gag of the Henry the Hoover vacuum cleaner style cleaner probably wouldn't be recognized by most people in the United States. It's Henry Hoover is more of a UK-based vacuum cleaner brand.
Yay! M did it! Just when M thought all won, Superman and friends turn up, help us badly.
Let's go and skip this. One more achievement. Yeah. I really oddly don't feel like I have anything to say. It's just more Lego, and I suppose I should say I'm fairly glad I only have maybe 3 more Lego games, and if I bought a couple more Lego games, I would then probably have all of them if are available. And certainly when playing this, I can feel why they felt the need to try and change things up. And it is kind of a weird catch-22 where they never changed up their games enough. But people would have definitely complained if they changed up their games quite a bit. I think part of the idea you would certainly want to try and pull off is to definitely not have a Telltale game style Lego game series for every release. Had they had just a TikTok mentality where one game was very much like Lego Star Wars, where you're running around breaking studs, building things, collecting gold bricks, red bricks, freeing Adam West, getting mini kits. And then if you just had something that was Lego-y but completely different, if there was a Mario Kart clone with Lego built carts and you got more bricks, and those bricks then helped you build a better cart, and you could custom the way your Mario Kart style cart looked, that would be really cool. Plus that would give you the same opportunity to take the same minifigs and put them in vehicles, and you would just have to have a whole bunch of vehicles in general. And there were vehicle missions in Lego Star Wars 1, so that would have been something close to what I'm suggesting, but just as its own separate game. Also, though, the vehicle missions were not appreciated at all by most players. It would be a little weird to have a fighting game. It wouldn't be crazy to have something like a Blast Corps game, which is a little bit of a weird game, but it's a game where you're racing to blow up things and get things out of the way. In Lego, that would make a lot of sense. It wouldn't be crazy to have mobile phone games that are Lego style Tetris things. There's definitely things you could do with just minifigs in general without doing too much on the bricks. There's even a few things you could do with bricks, just to have a Minecraft style game. The second Minecraft came out, Lego should have copied that. It would have been so easy to simply reskin Minecraft and put out one where the blocks in Minecraft had studs and connectors like Lego. And then instead of playing as Alex or Steve in Minecraft, you would be playing as a much larger collection of minifigs. And they tried to do that, and they failed miserably to pull that off. Also, so it's not like Lego as a company hasn't tried a lot of things and failed, because Lego doesn't really know how to make video games. They know how to make plastic bricks, and TT Games has tried and failed in a lot of things. The Lord of the Rings Lego game is kind of a great example of them trying to go in a very RPG style direction, and it didn't really work. So yeah, if anything, maybe they just flooded the market with Lego games once they've covered everything. And it's not like there's been any new amazing thing that's come out as far as a form of entertainment for Lego to even parody over the past 5 to 10 years. There have been some more Marvel movies, so of course you could make Marvel Lego games. There's been maybe a couple of DC movies, so you could do that. but not really anything else. The only thing they never secured were licenses for Disney movies. And sure, if you could come back here and do Lego Frozen and Lego like Sleeping Beauty and Mickey Mouse, and there are Lego sets where the company Lego has gotten those licenses, but there haven't been any indication that TT Games, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, has gotten any of those licenses. That would be pretty much all you could do. Um, there hasn't been a new series like Harry Potter since these games have come out. There hasn't been anything like that. I suppose Pirates of the Caribbean is a Disney license, so the Lego TT Games did get that one, but they didn't get any of the cartoon ones, which that would be interesting certainly. But since that hasn't happened, I've been able to really backburner playing any new Lego games for at least a couple of years, simply on the fact that there really hasn't been any new content to play anyways, at least at a reasonable price. There have been a couple of games that are still overpriced in my opinion. Definitely one of the reasons why I've played so many Lego games over the history of my YouTube channel is because I've gotten a lot of those games for like $10, which is much more acceptable than paying $60 for them. I mean, it's a great bargain if you can get a Lego game for $10 or $20. Anyways, there's really no reason to belabor it. That's going to be it for this recording. We got this done faster than the last two. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.